that we do see LA King's Dave being taken from Crimson's 2.0, and Nacho rather, getting taken from Crimson's 2.0, LA King's Dave going over. So we have a tank swap from the looks of it. I think Nacho may have been playing on support role for Crimson's, but they are just going to end up taking a tank from the side of Crimson's. Very confusing that these names are close, so I have to make sure I enunciate the differences. We'll have to see what comes out of this swap. You probably still will see Compton on that tank role. Nacho's going to have to fill in the tank role that LA King's Dave has left, but we will see what comes out of it. Everybody, what's the thoughts on the new Pog champ? Everybody, Komodo Hype ended up winning the Pog championing. I don't know if anybody watched that live or paid attention to it. But we are here on Route 66. It's a very common map for full holds. The first point is very easily defensible, especially if you take control of that 24-hour service. It's very hard to push around this corner. For this next map, specifically on Route 66, I am going to be looking at the trades to see what value they can get out of their new picks. As we do see Chico and Compton now running the tank lines. They're going to be running the Ball Zarya. And again, one of the hard things about running these kind of Ball Zarya comps is you're really going to have DPS that match. With 2 hits gain range with a Ball Zarya, you really want to have a Tracer that kind of matches up with this ball. So I'm going to predict Compton having a lot of issues getting in and out of the fight. Especially with the amount of CC that the defender side is bringing along with a longer range. I think the only way that Crimson's 69.0 is going to win these fights is if their ranged DPS can outrange and outduel the hit scans. And from the looks of it, they're going to be heavily defended with the shields here. They'll have to see as Compton goes through and rolls off to deny that high ground to the Sigma and the Hanzo. Nice play there, as now Korean steps up and takes that space. And now the Marsh Kip has come back and easily taken it back over. And now Blink is found on the first pick. That's exactly what they need to do to make sure that they can break this, as long as they can knock Phoenix down. But Knockout's getting burned down. He burns the Fortify, and the yellows come out from the side of Rambo. Some quick trades going in and out here. And now Korean has burned down LA King's Dave. Nice headshots. And as I said, with little to no damage now on the side of Crimson's 2.0, they're going to be falling like flies. Or dropping like flies. And they're just going to have to hard reset here. But again, Phoenix getting caught out. But Marshkip finds a trade onto Blink. And now the hit scan threat for the snipers is gone. But there's not going to be any time to recontest. From the looks of it, they're just unable to answer this frontline aggression from the side of Crimson's. You would expect the double shield to be able to play, but they're playing a little bit less compact, and their shield rotations might have just been a little bit off. So they were able to puncture that clamshell and get good value into it. And the PD goes into the back, a nice bubble. We have a High Noon coming out. That's going to be held from Korean. They're going to find some form of value, and there it is as the shield goes down. Oh, Knockout gets traded, and they're 1 for 1 on ultimates to kills. And now Korean is just going to be cleaning up back to back to back kills for him. Another nice dink on the Marsh Kip. And that's pretty clean fight win from the side of Crimson's, and it looks like they've done their due diligence when it comes to the trade. Nacho getting a lot of good value on the Ana with 2,000 healing. Still being out-healed by Rambo here. But the damage on the front of Korean is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Solid McCree play here. Let's see if they get another recontest. It doesn't look like they'll have time. And they're just going to be playing as we have a pause. Probably a DC. Seemed like an auto pause. We might have an auto DC coming on here. And there it is. LA King's Dave drops from the map. Unfortunate to lose the Sigma while he has the Flux in hand. But it wouldn't be a B2P without a pause. So In terms of the aggression that they're pushing, I was really doubting the amount of value that the hitscan DPS could get, just with the double shield. But Compton's doing a lot of good work in disturbing the backline, and the backline is turning 4 or 5 eyes onto the ball, which is then kind of allowing Chico and Korean to roam free. Korean and Jonesy doing a lot of the majority of the shield crack in this comp, for instance, on the Zen and McCree, and then Chico's just kind of burning down shields with the right click, I would assume. He's probably got decently high charge still. A large majority of what you'd have to see from this is going to be some form of adjustment in communication from Crimson's 2.0. Struggling with the frontline aggression, I think. Unable to get the pick on the ball, which means that when they turn their attention to the front line, the ball can just roll in and cause more havoc. So we'll see if this recontest is not going to happen, especially with the spawns coming low. LA Kings Dave's now spawning in late, but we'll have to watch Compton's rollouts and roll throughs to see what kind of disturbance he's getting onto the other side. As we're still on Crimson's here, and that second tick does come through almost immediately. Now Compton's in the back line trying to get a roll. Bumps them both in front of the shield and gets that solid bubble from Chico. Good communication between the tanks. We are running into a couple of ultimates here, so this should be a not quite of a dry fight. And we'll have to see what the neutral ends up going after they drop ultimate after ultimate after ultimate, and the ball is going to roll into the back line, and we have the amp from the side of Crimson's coming, or from Crimson's rather, but the mines drop out and they have nowhere to retreat to. Now Phoenix is going to get caught in this corner. This is going to be very dangerous as the Nano Chico is now running into the back line, and a tossed grab just to burn LA King's Day down. Burn both the bubbles and they're staying alive. It's good picks both sides, 3 and 3, but LA King's Dave is going to fall. And now Knockout is on the monkey to try and counter this aggression on the front line, but Korean just burns him down pretty quickly. And now Phoenix is going to burn a high noon, but a tranquility, but now Korean's on his high noon. Now Rambo's seeing if they can go in and contest. See what the support line is going to be coming from here as Blink finds the headshot onto Rambo, or body shot rather. But it looks like the defenders are getting enough picks just to stall out point for a little bit longer. It's a good purple from the side of the Ana as Chico goes in, dives, finds Marshkip, and the pile driver finds Phoenix. There's going to be 2 DPS down, and mines are going to be burned on point with an immortality field unable to keep them alive. It's huge plays coming out of the tank line from Crimson's here. Compton, EMT, and Chico just kind of popping off, getting these kills, and have allowed their supports to come back in and down what was a 2v5. Crimson's claw their way back in. Unexpectedly. They really took that advantage off of these dives, off this heavy aggression, off of the damage that they're putting out to the fault line there. A difficult time from Crimson's to be able to counter that. I do think they had enough CC and enough to make the ball disappear quickly. They just may have missed a few of their accretions, a few of their flashbangs, a few of their sleep darts, and it was apparently one too many. But we'll be turning over the second leaf to see if Crimson's defense is going to go any more one-sided, and Crimson's is going to be looking for a response to this. From the looks of it, they're going to be going into the double bubble with the Winston Zarya. And on Crimson's side, they're running a little bit more of a brawly style, but they're a little low on heals for a brawl. With the Zen, they're just going to have to be pushing this aggression and kind of out-damaging the other side. So we're just going to have to see how aggressive Compton's going to be playing this Reinhardt. And we are going to see the Ball Zarya come out from Crimson's 2.0 with a little bit more of a traditional meta comp. As we'll see the rollout from Knockout here. See if we can find good value. They're still unknowing, but it looks like they finally got a check, and Compton finds the early picks, and that is the life of a ball player when CC is so prevalent in today's meta. A sleep, a quick burn down from both a Zarya, from a Rhine swing, from a Fire Strike, and just damage after damage. And that is how you deal with a ball that's going into the backline. And Knockout seems to be back, but Blink wins the 1v1 with Marsh Kip in the Tracer duel. Now they're down in numbers again. We'll have to see what this rotation comes out from this edge. We have LA King's Dave discorded, pushing up hard, but ends up bubbling himself out. With a lot of good charge here. Oh, Knockout now going into the backline again, going low, finds the Mega, but is unable to get out as the Discord is going to punish him. And Korean finds the kill. And the issues that Crimson's 2.0 are having with dealing with the ball, Crimson seem to have figured out. Their front line is a little bit more beefy now with the Brawl, and a lot of the peel that they have in their backline for that ball disruption is being left to the DPS and the supports, which allows the tanks to hold this space so that they can't really gain much ground. And now they're going to be countering on the tank line. Rhine for Rhine, Zarya for Zarya, and now a Nano onto the Zarya and onto the Soldier. The Soldier gets slept, but gets woken up immediately by Knockout there. Probably not what you wanted to do for a sleeping Nano Soldier, but it ends up working out as 3 kills falls into the hand of Crimson's 2.0. A 4th comes through, a 5th comes through, and Game Rulers just rolling over the competition. Now you'd like to see 3 on cart here to see what they can get in terms of distance for this next contest. You see Blink here holding onto a Pulse Bomb, see what kind of value they can get, especially with Game Ruler now holding Trank. This is probably going to force out a Tranquility if they can stick it to the Zenyatta. But we are going to be seeing the contest coming through as the whole team is ready to jump this corner. Blink immediately gets burned down though. An unfortunate scenario as the Grav prevents a contest. Very good big brain, high IQ play from the side of Crimson's 2.0. I think it's unlucky on Blink's part. Ate a Fire Strike and then a nade almost back to back without having the ability for the recall. With no area heals, the nade just pretty much lopped off the rest of the health pool. Trying to get value out of that Pulse Bomb, unable to do so, and the first picks go towards that. But you see the Grab is the only thing really expended out of Crimson's 2.0. So a very economically well-won fight for them. And you'll be coming around this corner as the Dragon forces him off the high ground. A Shadow comes out from Knockout, unable to find anything as the wall blocks him out. And now Compton's just going to be swinging away onto the Zarya, but low health. And it's going to be Nano onto Ella King's Dave. Marsh Kip is going to be looking for a high noon here. Finds nothing as the block out of Korean comes through. And now Marsh Kip is trying to find some amount of poke damage that they can find here. A nice shatter gets canceled out from the Marsh Kip. Oof, the Marsh Kip flashbang. But Blink shuts him down pretty quickly. And as Knockout goes into the back line, gets pinned out to the edge of Narnia, and Compton is now back with 60% on that shatter that he just burned. So an quickly charged second shatter here. I think it's his 3rd shatter of the map, possibly. Maybe 2nd. I think it's just 2nd, actually. Didn't get the 2nd recontest, so they're going to be pushing this high ground. A nice little wall to separate tanks from the Ana. And it looks like they've broken through on the 2nd edge. And the Tranquility is going to be popped, but it's going to be too little too late. And now Jonesy's going to have to get out alive, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. You have 2 on cart now. Good cart push from the side of Crimson's 2.0. And Tracer's now going to get a forced recall, and it's going to be on the backside. The high ground over the station here. And now you see the ultimate advantage is on the side, really, of Crimson's 2.0. With a Tranquility and a Shatter and a High Noon and a Grab coming up. But it looks like Korean's going to be ready for the Blizzard early. Let's see if they burn it now. But he blocks on point. There's the Blizzard down. You have Knockout try to get out, but you have the Tranquility traded for that. It's going to be High Noon out of the back from Marsh Kip, and a Shatter from Compton lands. Finds plenty, but ends up going down to Knockout's Nano, as Knockout is now purple on point. Just swinging away, and now Korean's the only one left. He's going to have to do what he can to stall with the walls. And with the block, and it looks like they have DPS on point just to be able to get there. Game Rule is going very low, but a Pulse Bomb comes out, frozen up, unable to survive. And now with pick after pick after pick and stagger coming in from both sides, you really would like to see this favor in Crimson's. But they do have a majority of their tank line and their supports are now back. And they're just stalling from top ground here, as Jonesy's the only one under. And they faded out. They're going to have to drop down. Compton has little to no shield. A massive purple from the side of Nacho Cheese, and a shatter comes out from the side of Own Knockout. And it finds some value. There's still DPS trading. You have Korean on the back line getting some amount of stall with a wall, and it's going to block just to make sure that they can't get any more. Blink finds a pick onto the Echo. That's huge. That's actually a big opening, as now Rambo gets Blink, so it's traded out evenly. It's trade for trade for trade. Rambo's going off on a killing spree as a support. Not exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but nobody's going to complain as long as they stay healed. From the looks of it, Crimson is pushing into this last section with a little bit of time, and as long as they finish with that, you know, they've got some amount of time, but it may be a 4-minute time bank difference here, which could be a little bit of a problem. Now with the purple on the Compton, Compton has to back out. It's forced back a little bit. A grab is up. A nice wall from the side of Korean just to make sure that that Nano Ryan can't get any value, but it's still going to go swinging to the back line, and the purple does end up finding some stagger here as Onaka goes in, but Game Ruler finds a nice little connect with the Discord onto Compton, and now they have numbers and they are pushing payload. Now Chico has to come out on the ball just to try and stall a cart for a little bit. He probably could have recontested with the Zarya still, and goes a little early when the rest of his team is not quite ready to push this corner. As we see this corner come around the other side, we have a Bastion that's going to be able to set up on the side, but a shatter from the side of O Knockout. It's going to find 3, going to find 4 kills, 5 kills. Chico unable to find it, but a massive shatter there from the side of O Knockout to put everybody on the ground and find the map completion. And with about a 3-minute and 24-second difference, Crimson's is going to be looking to climb out of the dark hole that trapped Talia Al Ghul. They're born in the darkness, molded by it. And when everybody thought Bane was the child, it turns out to be Talia. Spoilers. Good movie though. Dark Knight Trilogy is very good. Highly recommend. In terms of what we have coming up for these next pushes, we're going to see the defenders with the time bank advantage as always for these kind of maps. So Crimson's 2.0 is going to get a second chance at pushing this corner. A lot of the time bank that they lost was due to the fact that they were playing an off-tank comp that wasn't getting too much value, as their ball was just getting shut down dive after dive and unable to go from point to point. So now coming out with that momentum driven comp that they had on the second and third points, they may be able to push the payload pretty decently. You'd really hope to see them aggress this edge, and we're seeing a pretty basic brawl comp, just minus the Lucio, and rather they have a Zenyatta. But we do have Nacho Cheese getting the first pick onto Marshkip, as Marshkip tries to take that high ground away from Korean, and now Korean is going to be in the back line, finding some value onto the Ana. There's a fortunate set of circumstances here, as they now have numbers advantages and just can play passive. And now they aggress for these kills, as they know they have the positional advantage. They can push this down, and now they have a time advantage. They're going to be stalling out a couple and staggering out a couple of these spawns pretty smartly. Oh, Knockout's going to be down, but with only 10 seconds on the clock, it's going to be a difficult push here. Somebody's going to have to touch. Phoenix is going to the back line. No ultimates from either side, and this is going to be very dangerous, as they have a mass kill onto Phoenix. First pick, but a Nano actually comes out onto O Knockout. This could be huge. And now the Nano gets traded out. A first Nano is going to be a problem here, as they get knocked out, as Compton finds 2 with a fire strike and cleans up on the end of his shatter.
Draw.
And the nano is well timed from the side of Gamesense. First nano did get dropped onto O knockout. And the pin did come through, but a lot of good defending and peel for the Reinhardt to make sure that they could stay up so that nano could be used properly. And Compton took advantage of it. And with 4 minutes and 24 seconds, this seems like an... I'm not going to say it's a one map for Gamesense, because there is still time and still room for Gamesense to pull this out. But it's not looking strong, as they only have about 30 meters to push this cart. And they're just going to pirate ship this one in, from the looks of it. They have set up with a Bastion, the clamshell, immortality field. They're going to be damage boosting the Bastion as well. And then Blink is going to be in the back, probably looking for a hack onto the Ryan shield, based off of the current comp that they have. Either that or onto the Zarya to prevent bubbles. But we'll have to see if the DPS line for Gamesense 2.0 can pick up those early picks, just to make sure that they can stave off this early aggression here. And we're going to be hopping on with Korean as he drives this pirate ship for us. And they're going to be picking this edge. They have the Sonic arrow that has pretty much spotted them out. And they've gotten the early pick onto Compton. And it's just as I has requested from the side of Gamesense. They've got the first pick onto a high value tank target. But Korean is now going onto a flank side here. This is going to be very dangerous. Doesn't quite get the angle that he was looking for. And now he finds it. Rambo's in the back line. He's very dangerously low. Now Marskip is well low, but Game Ruler is going to have to find some kind of value. Finds Korean, and they trade it out. And now Blink's now causing some trouble. The spawns are going to be in the favor of Gamesense, so they should be able to push this edge pretty soon. So you'd really like to see some kills on the side of Knockout and the LA Kings Dave as they go swinging into the back line here. Both tanks are aggressing with an Ana and with a Baptiste. So it's a 3v3. But now Korean spawn comes back in, and it looks like they're still going to be stalling out for Phoenix and for Marshkip, and with no damage to prevent the push around this corner. A Dragon's going to come last second just to try and clean up Korean. This is going to be time that is going to be bought off, and with 3 minutes left, they've held for a minute and a half. More than I thought they would, but it's window for window. The window's going to be used for Game Ruler just to keep up heals, which is very solid from their side. But it looks like Chico's going to drop a knockout in the face of the window, and this will be a Sig 9 as Baptiste goes up alive, comes down dead. Gamesense pulling out the cheese with the Bastion flank, but Compton is going to be the play of the game here, as we do see that Nano go in at low health. He was very low, and that peel just came out. He backed out a little bit, and then the nade comes through, puts him back at full, and drops a quintuple kill. Nice cards all around, and a second win as we go 1-1 for our map. And match 2 of B2P 36. It's turning to be a little steamroller here. It's a barn burner, as most of the commentators say. We do end up going to a map 3 again, but this time we're 1 for 1, so a little bit more of a tense map 3 coming up. No draws in Escort, unfortunately. So we can't go to map 4, but that is good in terms of length, and whoever wants to come over and play the map, our third match. So if you're wanting to get in for match 3, go ahead and drop the queue in the necessary channel. If you want to get in on the action for the B2P pubs we play on NA servers most weekends, but we're going to be popping over to Havana for our next map. And it looks like Gamesense is going to be taking Nacho back. I'll see what Gamesense ends up doing for their trade. See if they take Dave back or if they take somebody else. Be an interesting choice. But in terms of that last map, I think a majority of the issues that you had from Gamesense were just a lack of finding their footing on that first corner. As I said at the beginning of the map, that position is very easily defensible, especially if you're going to run Brawl or if you're going to run off that high ground over the 24-hour service, and Gamesense just showed very strong prowess in knowing how to run that corner and found picks earlier and was able to kind of shut down that edge that Crimson's was trying to get. But they did end up finding steam and finding momentum after they swapped to a little bit closer of a mirror comp.